Hello, my loves, and welcome to Shots of Serenity, where you can find dope conversations and a peace of mind. This podcast is not meant to be a replacement for counseling or psychotherapy. I encourage each and every one of you to seek out a licensed helping professional as you see fit. This podcast was established as a safe space to continue the conversation of mental health and all of its manifestations. Now, let's get into it. Hello, my loves, and welcome back to another episode of Shots of Serenity podcast. I am your host, Jasmine St. John, and this is a beautiful space to land where we love to explore ways to welcome peace and love into our lives through mindfulness, soul care, and self-exploration. It's been a hot minute since we recorded. I have not actually been able to have the time or the subtleness in my nervous system to record since being out of town for my birthday trip. So I am excited, but also hyper focused on let's get this done. We are moving, grooving, all the different things. And so I have and will be updating what that looks like on different platforms, trying to stay focused and lock in on when we're having the pod and not randomly. So if this is your first time listening, hey love, thank you so much for joining. We really hope that you enjoy it here. And I invite you to subscribe, like, comment, follow us. If you are a returning listener, hello love. Thank you so much for the support. This means a lot. We are slowly but surely entering year 6 of podding, and so really trying to understand systems and the fact that this is a media space and all the different things. So thank you for growing with me. Thank you for learning with me. Thank you for being patient. And we're excited to keep it going, keep it moving. So if you don't know, we like to start each episode off by asking, how are you genuinely doing? And it may need to be the whole episode on how I'm genuinely doing, but I'm present, I'm right here, and I'm excited to be here. But we really invite you to go beyond, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm chilling, but really hold some space for yourself. Check it, slow down, really use some emotion feeling words, if you will. If you have the space, allow yourself to journal, reflect, maybe write some things down. If you feel comfortable having that dialogue with someone that feels safe and supportive, to really check in with yourself. So I do want to say in this season of the podcast, we are exploring how language, life themes, and social concepts land in each of our unique experiences, as well as obtaining practical practices to support our overall well-being. As we started in the beginning, the desire is that this is a safe space to land where we can explore these things utilizing the beautiful resources and modalities of our ancestors, of the modern technology that's coming in, as well as personal experiences. And so today does not take away from that at all. As you can tell by the title of this week's episode, we are talking about the importance of gathering information. Gather the information, especially because perception is reality. Okay, I'm sure many of us have heard the saying, assuming makes an ass out of you and me. We can have a whole conversation about how long it took my brain to really understand what that means in like the context of the wordplay, the letters, how they're arranged, and it literally almost spells out like ass, you, me, but also like the messaging around it. And from my understanding, when we just take information without actually investigating or daring to be curious, we don't have all of the information. And so a lot of times that means that we are responding with a lack of information. Therefore, we're not responding in a holistic way or in a well-mannered way. Or if we are having that lack of information, that may trigger a certain emotion, thought, feeling, thought process, or belief, which will also allow us to respond, which we've talked about, right, in a way that may not necessarily be as conducive or supportive to the actual problem or situation at hand. And so we're talking about the importance of gathering information or even seeking clarity, if you will. One, what is perception? Perception is actually a psychological phenomenon. It's not just a word, right? I think I'm in a season of really understanding that like language is so important, and not just important of within the fundamental definitions, but how we resonate with it individually, and of course, at different seasons of life. And so, perception itself is a mental process of identifying information. This is not just verbally, this is the experiences that you have and how you chose to conceptualize said information from your previous beliefs and understanding. This is your senses. What is it that you see, you smell, you feel? Even your claras, what are you feeling intuitively? What is the information, the energy that you're reading? This is pattern recognition. If we're talking about like actual relationships, and maybe it's a pattern that's been continuing, you're not just gathering or perceiving the situation by itself in isolation. Oftentimes, we're perceiving this situation as well as all the other things that seem familiar to said thing. We've also talked before on the podcast that there's a such thing as schemas. So our brain's way of conceptualizing information and making these shortcuts so that we don't have to overexert ourselves. And when we think of how vast this process is in our psyche, in our mind, in our brain, it really invites us to kind of like slow down. Right? Like, not everything that we see, we hear, and we understand in the moment is the truth of the matter. It's fair, it's valid, it's your lived experiences. And so it's important for us to choose to honor it. But it's also important for us to seek some clarity, dare to be curious, and really analyze what is actually happening here. Because as we know, if we don't, that leads to misunderstanding, that leads to assumption, which as we started, that leads to you looking like a butt, or someone else looking like a butt. That leads to friction, conflict, that leads to beliefs that may not actually be practical or supportive to your life. And it can lead to anxiety, depression, other mental health challenges because we are taking information one-sided. The therapist in me wants to highlight this does not mean that we should be, or it's conducive for us to be nitpicky about every single thing, because I think that's where an anxiety kind of comes in. But almost like that conversation that we had a few weeks ago about attachment, releasing attachment to how we expect things to go, releasing attachment on how we think we see certain things, and giving ourselves the permission to, one, either explore, or two, not create such deep meaning and deep connection with something and taking it and running with it. A very simple example of that, and more so on the attachment, is this potting endeavor. We've talked about the fact that we're about to hit 6 years, and respectfully, there are many things and approaches that I have took in the podcast over this time that maybe feels icky right now, or may not necessarily resonate, but it did with that version of myself. As we just mentioned, normally I want to like yap and catch you guys up and all the things, but I'm understanding that the podcast is for that. Right? Like, there is space sometimes to catch up, but that's like vlog vibes. That's a specific podcast on checking up. That is short form content. And that thought process may change, but I'm trying to do a little bit better of focusing and logging in on what we're talking about and not letting my ADHD go like this. Because that's how the brain be going like this. And so I'm learning to like whatever this looks like. What can be helpful, as we talked about, we're having these conversations for awareness, for you to check in and see how you relate to them within the current season. But we're also going to be giving practical steps for further exploration, further awareness, or maybe even evolving in said thing. So what can really be helpful, as I've mentioned, is seeking clarity. Seeking clarity from yourself and seeking clarity from others. And so seeking clarity from yourself simply can be journal practices, right? Once we understand pattern recognition, once we notice how we relate to things or how we approach things, it gives us information, right? And so that's why I'm often saying awareness, no judgment. Awareness in mind, okay, this is how I'm approaching it. This is how I'm approaching it. Is this conducive to the overall goal? In a relationship, this is how I'm responding. This is how I'm taking my partner's responses. Is this conducive for the fact that it's us against the problem? Is it conducive for the fact that we want to grow and evolve together, and sitting in a space of nitpicking and finger pointing may not really be supportive to the overall goal? And sometimes that's a little difficult to hear because my natural inclination is to yap, right? Our responses naturally is to get a little defensive when we do feel offended or when we do feel slighted by other people. And that is okay. That's the human experience. And how are we checking in? Are we asking ourselves, where do I want to go from here? Is this conducive in this season of life? Again, seeking clarity from others. What did you mean by that? When you said that, this is how this made me feel. Thank you for letting me know this wasn't your intention, but this is how it landed in my body. And I'm not gonna lie, it landed in my body in this way because I've had previous experiences where this person did that and it was really triggering and their intentions were not as kind as yours. So can you work with me? Can you be a little graceful with me while I also check in with myself? That seems so simple as I'm talking about it now, and it can be very intimidating in the moment, but putting in that practice, allowing yourself to be as naked and clear as possible can be really supportive. A little bit of a tangent. It's interesting I'm talking about this because I am actually in the season where I am trying to find boundaries about over explaining or constantly asking why. And not because it's not supportive, but I'm understanding that that's not how everybody works. And it actually feels a little bit more unsafe when I am giving my all and then it isn't received with the care and the support that I need. But I'm still in the thick of it, so we're gonna talk about it at another time when the healing is taking place. Right now, we're just being aware of it. So at the end of the day, it's important to understand that how we choose to conceptualize and interpret information will be the foundation of how we will respond. It's a cycle. The other person will do the same thing, and that's when that misunderstanding comes in. All right. So if we were to have an example, I don't know if we have a whole episode on like nonverbal communication, but nonverbal communication, if we will, sometimes that gives so much more information than what's being verbalized. Almost like that saying that men lie, women lie, energy don't lie. So if I'm sitting here like, yeah, I really enjoy to be here in this podcast. I'm so grateful for the opportunity. Are you Bookie? Look a little aggravated. You look like you're forced to be here. What I'm saying is a thing. I think there's a trend, which I need to do on social media, where um you have a statement and there's like an option of saying it in a disappointed way, in a happy way, in a sad way. So the one I recently seen was like, wow, okay. So if I say wow, okay in a sad way, like, wow, okay, or sarcastic way, wow, okay, or happy, wow, okay. Like the tone also matters. We're literally saying the same thing. But again, because of nonverbal communication, understanding tone, frequency, timing, body language, it still gives so much more information. And I think we're missing that piece when we're communicating with people sometimes. And it's difficult. I mean, very much so, learning it. It is difficult. But I think it's really important for us to understand how we're showing up. And if confusion is present, how can you create that space to ask for clarity, to seek clarity, especially within our interpersonal relationships? And so, some practices. A question to ask yourself is, what did I hear and what did I feel? I heard you say, wow, okay, but I felt like it was very sarcastic when I was confiding in you in a very emotional, vulnerable space. Let's notice that. And I heard you, but my body responded. we don't even have to go, you guys know I love alone, take a second. We don't even have to go and bring that information to the other person if it doesn't feel good, but really asking yourself, like, what did I hear versus what did I feel? Because that allows us to understand there's an incongruence here. And let's discover, let's explore why. Is it because that's how you interpret it? Because little Johnny used to do the same thing, and little Johnny actually used to be sarcastic. But Joe right now is not on that same energy, and Joe actually meant it in a very sincere way. So sometimes it's really important for us to ask ourselves, what did I hear versus what did I feel? Also, what are the experiences that led to this feeling? Kind of like what I just mentioned. What were the experiences? Were there past experiences? Whether you say, okay, that tone felt a little different. I heard Jasmine say she loves me, but that tone felt like it was out of obligation. Why? Why did it feel that way? And then a third question is information required here? Me, as a, I want to know everything, chatty Cathy, I am learning that sometimes some things are for us to check in, to work through, and to release on our own. Not all the time, and it pains me to say it, not all the time does the other individual often have to know. Very situational. If you need that person to be informed, or if you need clarity from that person, then allow yourself to seek that information, right? Or seek that clarity. And so asking yourself, is there more information required here? So again, 3 questions. What did I hear / feel? What were the experiences that led to this feeling? And is there more information required here? An affirmation that I want to share with you. Maybe we could take some time to kind of like check in where you are as this conversation is landing. And I mean, of course, safety, but if you can, maybe even noticing your body in this moment, taking some time to breathe into any spaces that have some tension. If you feel called, maybe closing your eyes or having a little gaze. Taking time to notice if like some connection with your body may resonate. And so I would love for you to repeat this affirmation internally as I say it out loud. I choose to see the highest version of those I interact with. Clarity is my partner in communication, and I choose to use it accordingly. Again, I choose to see the highest version of those I interact with. Clarity is my partner in communication, and I choose to use it accordingly. And so I think this was a conversation that I received from like Debbie Brown, especially as now I am integrating back with humans. We're human, we're flawed, and that is understood. Reminding myself that even when people are showing their ass, I choose to see the highest versions of themselves. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I have to be best buds with them. I choose to see the innate goodness in them. That's for me. That's what resonates with my soul. Because if not, I'm gonna be irritable, I'll be tired, all of different things. So when those things come, I recognize it, but I choose to see the highest version. I choose to believe that we are all trying our best with the information that we have. And even if you show me that your best may not resonate with what I have going on this season, with love, with grace, with straight blessings and then prayers. Maybe go our separate ways and maybe both be well. Also, that second piece, clarity, understanding what is happening, what transpired, at least for ourselves. We deserve that much. Alrighty, loves. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Please be sure to like, to comment, to subscribe. If you don't know, we'll talk about it a little bit more as we get closer into quarter 3, because it's our last month in quarter 2. A soft landing. We kind of talked about it here. We are moving to Miami. By the time this is launched, we would already be settled. Crazy. crazy. I'll probably talk about thoughts and feelings a little bit more in vlog, because I want to do that more. I want to bring back our meditations, our virtual offerings, our stretching, journal opportunities. So stay tuned for all those things. But until then, I love you. Thank you so much for supporting. I hope that you guys have a beautiful day and a beautiful week. Namaste.
Thank you, my loves, for taking the time out to listen and join the conversation. I really hope you all enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast. If you've done so already and you like the vibes, be sure to write a review wherever you're listening to Shots of Serenity. It truly helps. Also, feel free to email or DM us with any recommendations, questions, comments, or concerns. Our email is shotsofserenity@gmail.com. Our Instagram is shotsofserenity_, and those are all spelled the exact same way it is spelled on our podcast. I'll see you guys next episode. Thanks again for listening. Peace and blessings to you all and your families, and I hope you all have an amazing week.